3.
Get to smash that like button. Subscribe. We need some subbies. Come on, you can do it. Late night. Woo, good vibes.
Good evening and welcome back. What a week it has been. My name is Jay Ryan. You've reached us in the late night playset. You've clicked us on, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you are on the internet. Thanks for being with us. Click the like, the bell, the subscribe, all the things you're supposed to do if you're young and you know all the ones and zeros. I don't understand any of it myself, but we are very grateful that you are here tonight. We've been gone for a week. Our cat died. It is what it is. We're all okay. We are grateful to have had a week to say goodbye to a very, very old cat. So this thing all worked out very well. But the good news is Nicole is back with me. And the better news than that is we've got a great guest this evening with Sean Cridland over there. And joining us in a few minutes on via satellite will be Jay Ward of the Pixar Cars fame. And also we have you on Instagram. And all the way up in Canada, north of the border, is our friend, producer Mike. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. I'm excited for the show.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Thanks, bud. With that, I guess we'll probably not dilly-dally too much tonight and just kick it off. Hit it, Will.
Kevin, you gonna buy a Beamer?
That camera's terrible, but it is what it is. I'll sit over here with you. How's it going?
Never better.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back. It is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. My name is Jay Ryan. Pretty lady to my right. Your left, way over there, is Nicole. We'll start this thing off with how you feeling. It's been a hell of a week, and it sure took it out of me. How about you?
Worn out.
Yeah. Emotional.
Yeah.
But it's taking a physical toll as well.
Yes, it's all connected, but yes.
Is it all connected for all of us, and you're just more sensitive to it, or is it all connected more so for you because of the MS?
I don't know.
Probably not the day to ask you, come to think of it.
I mean, it feels like a long, complicated answer, a lot of parts.
Yeah, well, everything with that is complicated.
Yeah, so I don't want to get long-winded, because I tend to do that easily.
I think people are probably happy to see you. I know certainly the people on the internet were worried about us, mainly you, but us, over the last week or so. We sort of went dark. And we really did go dark.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was wild. I'm so great. We'll do a whole show about the cat. I don't want to talk about it too much tonight, but we are just both so grateful to have gone from a situation where we had a perfectly healthy, very old, but perfectly healthy cat that just sort of like had an issue one night overnight where it seemed like, oh, we're going to have to say goodbye right now today. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't even remotely ready. So the fact that even though it was rough, the fact that we had a week to literally do nothing but spend time with the cat, I just feel like couldn't be a better scenario. Really old cat, got time to say goodbye. How does it get better than that?
I got to talk about that with my therapist this morning, and like, that's a saving grace that I've never had before.
Yeah, it just kind of surprised us because we weren't expecting it. But that's life. That is life. And if we were prepared and had a whole whole plan in place and all that stuff, it wouldn't have worked out anyway. You kind of got to go with the flow.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what's going on with the Ryan. Sorry we weren't with you. I'm really bummed to have missed both Emmy Hall and Lynn Woodward. That show was going to be fun, but we're going to do it again in a couple weeks when they're both back in town.
Good.
Love both of those girls, and I met them together, so it's on a different podcast. So it'd be kind of a nice little reunion.
That'll be fun.
And that's the stuff. The business we'll do at the end. I want to say hello to our good friend over here, Sean Cridland.
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Great. It's nice to see you guys. It's been, a year and a half or so since I was here last time?
It doesn't seem that long to me. I just want to make sure it's pointed at you. It doesn't seem that long to me, but you're probably right.
Yeah. I think it was like December of whatever year that was.
How are you doing, sir? Because we were going to have you here a couple weeks ago, but you weren't able to make it.
Oh, gosh. Well, I'm actually doing very well. I just had a little, what turned out to be a minor medical thing, but it was kind of scary at the time because my leg blew up. And but with a little bit of time horizontal and some ice, it went back to normal, and I'm back fully ambulatory again and walking around. And,
you were literally on your way here. You were
I
coming
was
to
literally
LA.
on my way here. I got to Gallup, New Mexico, and I said, something's wrong. Turned around, and not only did I miss the Lit Meet weekend, but one of the concerns for me was the following weekend I had been invited to be one of the speakers at the Porsche wine dinner at the Amelia Concours, and they were flying me in and putting me up in the Ritz for 5 nights, and people like Hurley Haywood or Jeff Swart, they might get asked several times over the time of their careers. I figured if Sean Cridland doesn't show up this time, forget it. He's done. So I
I don't think that's true.
If they had to carry me in on a stretcher, I was going to be there. Fortunately, with the ice and laying low for a while, it worked out and I could get there. And once everything worked out, it literally got better by the hour.
You really just needed some rest. It's all it was, right?
It was just keeping the leg elevated and letting it heal itself, and that was it.
Kind of does make sense, I guess, in hindsight.
Yeah, but it was a kind of a worry because other things can happen with the same kind of appearance, but it was none of those things. It was just a minor internal bleeding thing.
I had a relative who had the same thing, and it was a blood clot.
Yes, exactly.
So that's probably what they fear, right?
That's what I was fearing. Yeah, because that can lay you down for months, if not kill you.
It could kill you. Yeah, I was going to say, especially when you're driving across the country going, my leg hurts, but I guess I'll check it out later another time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So,
airplanes, they say it happens on airplanes a lot.
I've heard that.
I've heard that too. Yeah. In fact, some people said, well, are they going to let you fly, when you go to Florida? But it was fine.
How would they know?
Right, yeah, right. But no, it was...
Hey, Mr. Cridlin, last week that knee was pretty big.
Yeah. But no, it just needed to... literally to chill out, and once the internal stuff stopped, then it was just fine.
As much of an inconvenience as those things are sometimes, I generally find that I needed whatever, like it was life giving me a little bit of a, hey, why don't you just take it easy for 5 minutes?
Yeah, well, that could be true, except for last summer I had 3 hip replacements, so...
three hip... 3 hip replacements?
Yeah, well, I like to carry a spare.
I see.
Shouldn't everybody? But yeah, so I had been I had plenty of time to chill out.
Okay.
So and I was just getting back on my feet, and it's like, oh, there's just a few little things in the knee that we could fix for you. Let's do that.
While we're in there,
I want to be full on for the rest of the summer. And then that happened, and I was like, oh God, Here we go again. But no, everything's good now.
You look very well. Professionally, you've been all over the place with this book.
Yes, that's right. In fact, last fall, I was, which was a kind of a big thing for me. I'd always been kind of jealous of everybody who had done this, but I got invited to speak to let me see if I can get the name right, the Manhattan Sports Car Driving and Chowder Society.
Excuse me?
Meeting, which has been going on for over 60 years at the Sardi's restaurant, the famous Sardi's restaurant that has all the entertainment caricatures on the wall. They meet once a month there. And they had me in as their speaker with some other guy.
Is it like an early Sunday morning thing, and that's why I wouldn't know about it, because I never would have heard?
No, it's on Tuesdays. And then, Tuesdays with Sean, right? And so they had me on, and when I got the notice, it said, you're going to be on with this other guy. And I thought, that'll be nice. I don't know who it is, but I'll just. For some reason, it didn't occur to me to actually read the blurb about the other guy. And so I get there, and I give my talk, and then they, I get a really nice round of applause, and everybody loved my stories and so on. And I sit down, and then they introduce Ralph Gilles, global head of design for Stellantis.
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, oh.
But, I mean, here's the thing. Of those two, I'd probably be more interested in what you have to say, because what do I care about, head of the whole... I guess I'm trying to help you, but I don't know.
It was actually a really fun time for both of us, and afterward we talked for quite a while, and I got to meet his family who came with him, and then at Amelia they had an after Concord dinner, and they invited me to that, and super nice people, and I really enjoyed getting to know them, and we'll probably do some more stuff in the future because we've stayed in touch.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've done that, and of course I actually did make it to the Amelia thing, and it was the theme of the night was storytellers, and Ray Schaefer was the moderator, and it was Jeff Zwart, and J.F. Musial, who's a documentary filmmaker.
We know JF, sure.
And me, representing the print side. And so it was...
So was Ray Schaefer moderating?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
great. I love it.
And so it was kind of a discussion of what we do, what we encounter in each of our media, kind of challenges we've had, and goals that we might try to reach, and so on and so forth. It was a really fun experience, and it was for me it was a big boost. I had been going to that wine dinner for years. And I've always been a little bit jealous of the people who are
to be up on stage, yeah. Well, but you are peers with all those people. You know Ray, I'm sure you know Jeff Swart, and certainly JF.
Yeah, well, I never had met JF, but I've been covering Pikes Peak for a long time now, and I usually spend the entire month up there in June when they start testing in early in the month. And
well, you live there anyway, don't you?
I live about 6 hours south of there in New Mexico.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
But a good
different
buddy
state
of mine,
entirely. Apologies.
A good buddy of mine, Fred Veach, is the chairman of the board of directors there, and he has been a racer, and so I've been hanging around that event.
For the actual hill climb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been hanging around that event for some time, and as a result, that's how I really know Jeff. And then, of course, he did one of the art books that I had done. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. So he did on his. He did a what do you call it? A storyboard. So I called him, and I really just called him to say, hey, do you know some artists that might be appropriate for this? And then I thought, well, maybe he does art, because he's a very creative guy. And
you don't want to, insult.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know anybody when you can do it?
And so he said, well, I've been storyboarding my own commercials, for 20, 30 years, and I could do a storyboard on it. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful. And so that's what he did. And originally our plan was to auction that a couple of weeks ago. Myself and Hurley and Jack Atkinson, who was the crew manager back in the 70s when Peter and Hurley were winning everything for BRUMOS. We went up there, but that just happened to be the weekend that Mr. Ingram passed away. So,
Why is everything happening? We were going to do our auction and you didn't show up.
yep.
R.I.P. to Bob Ingram.
Yeah. He was a really wonderful man.
It's
I
Cam's dad, you know.
Cam's,
yeah, and I met the family actually as a result of Pikes Peak and my friend Fred Beach that I just mentioned, and then eventually Randy Leffingwell was doing their web magazine and brought me on, and so I wrote for them for 4 or 5 years, features every month, and Mr. Ingram was always super gracious, super nice guy, and
He's not the one who did the Porsche book. Did he do a Porsche book as well? I
that
know
was
that name.
Randy Leffingwell, Cam Ingram, and Michael Furman did that book together. Porsche Unexpected was the title of
That's
that.
the one. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Shoot, there's so many beautiful, wonderful,
Oh my gosh, yes.
both information and art Porsche books. The one I'm thinking of has the Seinfeld Gemund car on the front. Do you know that one?
I do know that book. That's a different book. Carl Ludvigsen did that book.
That's
Yeah.
Leffingwell, Ludvigsen. Jesus
Yes,
Christ, I'm a
yeah,
mess.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean.
No problem.
It's our first show back. I'm a little rusty.
Oh, no. And by the way, I had one of my cats pass away last summer, so I know what that's.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. That was my writing partner cat. I had 2 cats. I still have the one. And but that one was the one that spent all its time on my desk right next to the keyboard. And,
Little best friend.
yeah, exactly. So.
How old was that one? Because we'll
Not
make
that
it all
old.
about cats
Not
now.
that old. That one was just 10, but she had some kind of intestinal thing that, we did everything we could with, surgeries and food and everything that you can do for a cat. So I know what that feels like. It's hard. It's gut wrenching. But anyway, so those are some of the things. I just there's a new book out called 46: The Birth of Porsche Motorsport, which is about the 1951 class winner at Le Mans, and I contributed a chapter to that, and I have a couple chapters in a book that will come out probably later in the summer. That is Tim Considine had done twice around the clock Yanks at Le Mans, and he had done a 3-volume set that got up to through the 1970s, and then he passed away. And so there's a team of us now who are trying to finish that set for his wife. So I've contributed some chapters to that. And,
So that eventually there will be a completed work put out.
Yeah, so there's right now there's the red volumes, and eventually there will be the white and blue volumes. And so that'll bring everything up to the present, whenever that present might be, because it might take
Work
a
in
couple
progress.
years. Yeah, and
You're the best. That's why your books are so good, though, the deep dive.
Yeah, and putting the finishing touches right now on Renee Brinkerhoff's book about her
Valkyrie.
yes, Valkyrie racing and going around the world in her Porsche 356, and
That's so
that's
cool.
going to be a beautiful book, 250 pages. Beautiful photographs that her daughter Christina and a few other people took from all those trips, and that'll be a great book. And
Even to Antarctica.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
That car just returned back to L.A. the other day because it's at the Peterson for the event. I'm assuming that's why you're in town. We didn't get to that. Are you here for the Porsche event?
That's
at
one
Peterson?
of the things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this, obviously. I mean, obviously.
This because I wanted to bring something to you and something to them, and then just so happened that when I called to come down, I called Jim Busby because I hadn't seen him in quite some time, and he said, "Well, we're having a thing over at the shop on Wednesday. Why don't you come in?" So I changed my reservation, came in a little bit earlier, and so I went over there yesterday, and it was Jim, Alvin Springer, Derek Bell. Justin Bell, Don Prudhomme, the drag racer.
I grew up with Don Prudhomme. Bobby Rahal. Come on.
I mean, it was like
royalty. Racing royalty.
Oh, yeah, it was racing royalty. Yeah. And Bruce Meyer was there. And,
Of course.
A great group of people. I went over there intending to spend 1 hour there and was there for 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Whenever
really
I
fun
talk
time.
about when I was a kid, my dad, we had a family member work for U.S. Tobacco. They sponsored all the Skoal cars and all of the racing. It was Harry Gant in NASCAR, and it was Don Prudhomme. So every summer we would go down to the Summer Nationals. I always talk about that, the drag strip, NHRA. So not me at all, but I was exposed to it as a kid. And we would always go, and we would have the hospitality passes and the pit passes, the all access everything because of Don Prudhomme. He was the driver at the time that was winning. like Kenny Bernstein was just breaking 300 at that time.
Yeah.
It was the 90s, I guess.
Yeah. Don the Snake.
Don the Snake Perdome.
Yeah. So
He had a reputation.
Well, I think his arch rival was Tommy Mongoose. Someone I can't think of who his last name.
But the snake and the mongoose,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Mortal enemies. And then the Bells. We know Justin very well. Derek,
Yeah.
of course, his father. That's wonderful.
For me, Derek Bell has the perfect English accent. Like when I think of the coolest English accent, I think of Derek Bell. And that has nothing to do with the racing. I just love the way he sounds.
It's kind of the perfect amount of it. Is that what you mean? Like all of the settings are just EQ'd perfectly.
It's like when he describes, there's a film, maybe you've seen this. It's back when they were racing the 956. There was a film that they did when they had an in-car camera on every racetrack they went to. So Le Mans, Nürburgring, Silverstone, Fuji, wherever it was, 10 different races. And it was Derek Bell both driving and then moderating, describing every corner, the straights, the jumps, everything. And
Wow,
it was
but no,
like,
wow,
this
he's-
is the coolest voice, like, the best voice, best English voice ever.
He I can't Forza or Gran Turismo, but his voice was in. He narrated one of the video games I used to play, and she whatever. You're not alone. I don't think you're the only one who feels that way.
Yeah, so, anytime I'm around him, I'm just like,
Justin's pretty good looking too, by the way.
Justin's
he
pretty
made a
good
good looking kid.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's true.
Our friend Milani is they're friendly,
Oh, yeah.
very friendly.
Yeah.
Excuse
I
me,
think she was
Jason.
there, too.
I saw the pictures. I wasn't going to say that, but yeah. Totally. Let's see. I happened to see that a friend of ours popped in over here. Can we say hello to Mr. Jay Ward live via satellite?
Hey, Jay.
Are you able to hear me okay?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can. It's a little blurry visually, but I can hear you well.
It may only be blurry on your side. I apologize for that. Luckily, the feed is crystal clear.
Good, good.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm just north of you up in the San Francisco Bay Area, but thought I would pop in to join for a little while. Sean told me you guys were doing this, so I'm happy to be here.
Let's see. I think I can get us all in here. Maybe something like that. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. How do you two know each other? Where did this relationship begin?
Well, I'll tell a little bit about the concept itself, and that is that, when we did the Hurley book, our special edition really came down to putting a slipcase on it and having some signatures and having some numbers on it. Mm-hmm. And which, of course, we did with the BRUMOS book, but we also then added an extra 100 pages of photos.
Right.
And we have serial numbers of series of that also. But then I thought, and I was talking to one of the people who bought the Hurley book, and he basically said, whatever you make, I'll buy it. Like, whatever it is, I'll buy it. And I thought, wow, what could I do that would be different? What could, So we came up with this idea of doing a slipcase with doing hand-painted ones. Originally, it was just going to be one.
Right.
And I was talking with Bill Patterson at the Rensport in 2018, I think. And we were just kind of shooting the breeze. And as I walked away from his tent, I thought, why does it have to be one?
It almost shouldn't be just
Why
one.
couldn't it be 5 or 10? And as it turned out, when I had those made, the company made 12 of them. And I thought, well, that's a lot. But then I started thinking about who would be like really cool people to do that. And I saw Jay on the Zoom version of the Chowder Society thing last fall. And it just kind of popped into my head, like, wow, how cool would that be? Like, Jeff Zwart had already told me he'd do one, and Frank Stella committed to doing one, and I just thought, wow, what if Jay would do that? And when we were at Pikes Peak last June, David Donahue was running a BRUMOS car, and Dan Davis and his stepson Brendan Starks were there, and we were talking early one morning. It was still dark, and he said, "Oh, we were just in Jay's office the other day." And I was like, "Really?" And so anyway, I think that he was the one who originally brokered the deal. Is that right, Jay?
Let me think how this all happened. So I judged at Amelia Island for the past, I don't know, 7, 8 years, and Hurley Haywood and I became judging partners. And but through Hurley, I met Dan O'Davis, obviously, and I visited the BRUMOS collection right before the pandemic hit. Literally that March of 2020, I visited the collection and then flew home, and Dano and I have stayed in touch. And I think he called me and asked about if I would do this sleeve as well.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So then, we started chatting a little bit, and I sent him the thing, and we have it here today.
Is it there?
Do you want to bust it out?
Yeah, I think we should.
All right.
I think we should. So
I'm
shall
gonna preface by saying, when you see the artists in the set, everybody that did this is far, far above my level of art. And I thought, if I knew the superpowers that would be doing these things, I probably would not have volunteered to do some sketchy cartoons on a cape. I'm just saying. Embarrassing.
I know what you mean on that one.
Here we are.
We've all got a little imposter syndrome in us.
Yeah, for sure. And this one,
Well, I
for
can't
sure.
wait to see it. And then also I want to talk a little bit more about your affiliation with cars, mainly because, the 911 that we drive around in the yellow car with the 111 on it, we sort of designed it to be sort of a fake fictitious offspring of Sally and Lightning McQueen. We call it California McQueen.
Oh,
And
that.
it's sort of the idea, year-wise, it all works out, and it's just sort of, I don't know. Do you remember why the hell we even started that? I don't remember why I did it. It just sort of popped into my head, and then.
I don't remember.
All right. So the Cars franchise is very, very close to us in our hearts, and I guess I just probably relate.
I'm guessing
It's very relatable.
I'm guessing you saw the Sally special that we did with Porsche that was auctioned off last year.
Absolutely, of course, it was beautiful and wonderful, and for a great cause too.
A couple great causes, yeah, and it raised more money than they had ever sold a brand new Porsche for in the history of selling new cars at auction. Whatever, it brought more money than any other new cars ever sold for them. So they were pretty happy.
Can you say what the number was? Because I remember it being a lot.
Yes, $3.6 million. Yeah.
Wow. For a fancy 992.
Wow.
Yeah, for a very nice GTS. The goal was to make this car for charity that would be like a Sally edition or a Sally special, a one-of-one Sally car that would primarily benefit Girls Inc. And then the Ukrainian refugees, as the war in the Ukraine started, so we decided to split the charity in half.
Oh,
We
beautiful.
did not know how much it would bring. We had no idea. I was thinking 950,000 would be great because McQueen's 95, and it went to $1 million within 17 seconds of the bid.
Wow.
And then it went to 1.5, 1.7, and then around 2 million, it kind of got quiet because now you just really got hardcore people at 2 million. And there was two people that fought to the end, but I'm really happy with the gentleman that got the car. Huge Porsche guy, Porsche collector, and a big Pixar fan. So and he drives it. He drives the car. So it went to definitely the right person.
Oh, that's the best. And that's like, not to equate it to our cat dying, but that's like the best possible case scenario. Way more money, one guy who really appreciates it and brings it out to show people it's not just hidden away in a collection. I love it.
And wouldn't it be wonderful
Totally.
if that guy started bidding?
Oh, yes. It
Yeah,
has the
this
matching
is-
book series. I like
Yes,
were you're going
that's
with
right.
this.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
See what I
I
can
have
do,
to
Sean.
connect with our buddy Ray Schaefer because, we were looking into some of the sites, and I have a feeling now Broad Arrow might be a great place for this.
Possibly so.
So let's see it.
Yeah.
This is my
So
first time seeing
where
this in
shall
person.
Shall I put it that way?
Sure. Or if
Okay.
you want to put it right on the desk, whatever's easier for
Okay.
you.
Well,
Look,
having it on is not-
these are
on-
heavy collections.
Yeah, so these are 34 pounds each for this thing. And here we go. Is this the right direction to point it?
Yep,
Or?
sure.
Right. So on the front,
Oh.
we have,
Yeah, perfect.
okay, Sally Porsche. On the back,
By the way, I think this artwork is lovely.
we have
I just want to say,
Oh, thank
for the
you.
record,
Lightning McQueen.
Thank you.
Cool.
cha-chow. Ka-chow.
And,
Ka-chow.
Right.
and
Cha-ching.
not,
Ka-chow.
and not do we just have them, but we have them done by the guy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the coolest thing about the whole concept here is that is that, this isn't just something. This is like hand done by Jay Ward.
It's a thing by the yeah. You're exactly right.
Yeah, no, it's a really remarkable piece, and
No, thank you.
to have something done like this by hand, by the artist. I just think that it's an awesome
really
thing.
neat.
What's impressive to me is the canvas wrapping on the actual box itself looks like it was a hard feat to do, and it's all sealed and like, I don't know, it's done very, very well.
Well, when we started that portion of the process, first of all, finding somebody these days to do slipcases was already hard enough. But
Right.
then, I said, okay, now we just have this other thing, and we've never done that before. And so I found the canvas myself, and I sent it to them, and they played with it a little bit, and they did a nice job with it. So.
How big does the canvas have to be to origami into this shape?
Oh gosh, I think I sent them 20 yards for 12
okay.
cases. Yeah.
Wow. Is that what it is? Is that why they made 12? They used
12.
whatever yardage you gave
I
them?
think they probably did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I thought of you guys because I've always liked the energy that your show has, the energy that you two have, and
Oh,
I didn't
buddy.
even know about the sentimental connection to Cars.
Really?
So this is even better. This is even more appropriate.
I grew up, for some reason, the movie Doc Hollywood was close to me growing up, and there's a Porsche in that as well.
Right.
And maybe probably a Michael J. Fox connection. I don't know what it was, but I really liked it. And then the Cars story was so similar to that story, but with so much more stuff that I like in it.
Yes.
And I grew up with Paul Newman is a weird thing to say, but I grew up in the same town as Paul Newman, and we would see him all of the time.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
there's that specialness. Just in general, I the Cars, I don't know, it hit all the right beats for me emotionally.
I love that series. It's so filling.
Even you do as a girl. Is it because you're my wife and I like it, or is it there's enough there for you as well?
There's a lot there for me.
Bonnie
too.
Hunt. Oh my God,
I
Bonnie
mean,
Hunt.
I love her.
Yes, that's right.
I love her.
Right. We'll talk about BRUMOS, but man, do we love Pixar Cars.
Yeah, no, that's a wonderful
Hey,
thing.
that's why I have my job. So thank you.
Now you're up in NorCal, is that right?
Yeah, so Pixar's always been in the Bay Area. We were actually, Steve Jobs bought it back in 1980 something from George Lucas. We did a short with the little lamp and the ball in 1986 called Luxo Jr. And then our first feature was Toy Story in 1995, and it's gone from there. I started here in 1998, right after A Bug's Life came out. I started on Monsters, Inc. That was the first film I worked on.
Wow.
As a PA, as an entry-level person in the art department, and worked my way up to what I do now. So I was on Cars from concept forward to the very end.
Wow. A friend of mine, his name's Sean Bishop, he was there was going to be a Planes franchise for a tiny little bit, or at least one movie.
I remember hearing that.
And he was
That was at Disney. Yeah, that was at our neighbors at Disney. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I thought that was. I see. At one point, okay. Well, then maybe I. At some
That was
point,
our
he
cousin.
remembered meeting with you for probably just to probably get the lay of the land. I'm guessing.
Yes, we did quite a bit of consulting for them, and Clay Hall, who was the director of the first Planes movie. So we tried to help them out and help get them off the ground, pun intended, with the Planes films.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have even brought it up. I just assumed. I didn't realize it was cross studio, but whatever.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to know the history there, look it up. There's a lot. Wow. So you've been there the whole time. So you have seen all of the different. I mean, Pixar has gone through a lot of changes over the years.
Sure. Yeah,
Creatively,
it has, and,
politically, I don't
the
need to
good-
get into, but creatively, the projects have shifted and changed.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we always want to tell new stories and relevant stories and keep pushing the medium. And that's what I think we've done really well and very successfully. And our track record has been pretty amazing. So I'm fortunate to be here through all of that.
Do you? This is a tough question, but do you have a? I forget, especially because I have this big book in front of me. Do you have a favorite Pixar film that the studio has put out? We have a couple favorites, that have certainly hit us in certain ways, but maybe as a creator, do you?
Sure. I mean, I think I look at the different films almost like different kids, right? Like your children, you love them all the same, but there's different attributes about them. Obviously, Monsters, Inc. as the first film that I worked on was very special to me. I managed the art department on Ratatouille, and that was also a very special film to be a part of.
Beautiful movie. Beautiful movie.
Yeah, great film. Brad Bird, what he did with The Incredibles and with Ratatouille is unbelievable. So, yeah, it's hard to say. We've made so many great films here that I've been fortunate to be part of.
You bring up Brad Bird. For me, it's Tomorrowland, and I'm the only guy in the world who freaking knows it, but I think that's one of the best movies ever made. Nobody's
so
ever seen
good.
it.
I know, but it's such a good find.
Oh, it's so
And
good.
George
And then
Clooney
batteries
in
not
there.
included. Oh, say again?
And George Clooney was in Tomorrowland, which is crazy. You know?
Yes, he was.
Which is like a guaranteed win, and still no nothing.
Yeah. Well, really quick, going back to Paul Newman, you said you grew up in the same town with him. People may not realize this, but Cars is the last feature film that Paul Newman did before he passed away. It was Cars.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And when we got him to play the part, we had a script, obviously. And as he read it, Paul's a real race car driver. So he's looking at it going, that's not right. He wouldn't say that. No, that doesn't make sense. And he started doing his edits, and we're like, yeah, let him do his edits. This guy knows what he's talking about. And
So Paul Newman became the technical consultant on Cars.
That was probably more my role, but I think Paul made sure that the authenticity of his character and the authenticity of racing especially was in there. That was what Paul really brought to that, on top of just being amazing at that character. You can't think of anybody else doing it but him. He was great.
Do you think that's one of the reasons that movie resonates with like real automotive car fans, so much car enthusiasts? Most of the car people I know in life love that movie, not even just because it's a great cartoon for kids. It's just a great car movie. The sounds are right, the physics are right, everything's right about it.
It is, and not only do we like Paul Newman in that movie because he's a car guy, but for those of us who know his career, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and all the
Cool Hand Luke for sure. Yeah.
Slapshot, the hockey.
Oh yeah, Slapshot with the brothers.
Such an amazing array of movies that he had. His persona was like a real persona, right? So when he played a role, whether it was comedy or straight, he just brought so much into it. So to have him as kind of the central character holding that movie together, I think that was genius.
I totally agree. Did you, if you don't mind, did you guys go after Paul Newman as like a first choice because of the racing element? Obviously, he's a huge get as an actor, but the car element is what gets it for me.
One thing we do is we cast actors based on what they can bring to this character that we've already created. So some studios will go after an actor because they're the hot actor and then try to make their character look like that actor, and we don't do that. For Paul, because he had this racing history, but also if you think about him in his later years of his career, like Color of Money and those kind of things, when he plays that kind of gruff older character that has to teach a young hotshot, and in that case it was Tom Cruise, a thing or two, you can see the relationship we're looking for between him and Owen Wilson. So it really makes sense that we used him for that role.
I love that you used that as your example, because that's what I would have gone to as well. I don't know if you have a favorite Paul Newman. The Hustler would probably have to be my favorite, and Color of Money then is up there as well because it's basically a sequel. Do you have a favorite, Sean?
Well, I have a lot of favorites. I mean, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is when I first became really aware of him as a kid. And so then, you go on to, as I brought up, Slapshot is one of my favorites because I'm from that upstate New York area where that little hockey league was playing.
What part are you from?
I'm from the Mohawk River Valley, about 50 miles west of Albany.
Outside of Rochester.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there's that part of it. But then I look back to his older stuff and HUD.
HUD, yeah.
He is such a cocky jerk in that, but he's the perfect.
But everything
jerk.
where he's young, he's a cocky jerk. Cool Hand Luke and the Hustler as well.
Yes, that's right.
I'm also thinking about
the
HUD.
Go ahead.
The Hudsucker Proxy. That's the one I'm thinking of, where he's the boss in the Hudsucker Proxy. And that's another thing where he plays a gruff older guy, in a great way.
He's the head in the boardroom. Yeah, that's a great movie too. Is that Coen Brothers, that one?
I think it is.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird. It has their kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about Cars and why car people love that movie, adults and kids alike. First of all, I don't think we make kids films. I think we make animated films that kids love, but adults love it too. It's a medium.
I agree.
Agreed.
But I think Cars, I think the resonation, the reason that people love it is that we did get that authenticity right, that we got those details right, that old cars have bias ply tires and the modern cars have radials, and the way that they move and the way that they act is intrinsic to the vehicle types that we cast. And we really were intentional about that. They all move the way they're supposed to.
It's a good point. You know, we're applying this to cars, but really all of the Pixar movies have that attention to detail to whatever it is that they're looking
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
That
what
Soul
makes
movie.
That's what makes them also compelling, so entertaining.
Right. That Soul one we just watched recently.
That's Pixar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Holy
Pete Docter,
moly.
same director who did Monsters Inc. He did Up, he did Inside Out, and yeah, Soul was his last film.
Oh, and we just watched Inside Out again. Too. Again, it was a week of sad movies because we were on the floor with nothing to do but. So we watched Inside Out again, and that, gosh, as an adult, really gets you.
Those two together are great. I didn't know the same person.
It's Amy Poehler and then the one you worked with from The Office, Phyllis, right? The happiness and the sadness, the joy and sadness.
Yes.
What's her name?
Yeah.
I think Phyllis.
Okay.
A lot of them were named what they were because were writers first, and they became that role.
Oh, interesting. That's so wild. Yeah, I can't think of one I don't like, Jay, and I have a hard time picking a favorite because they are all so good for different reasons.
Yes, exactly.
And they all resonate for different reasons. Perhaps maybe the different age you are or whatever you're going through at that stage in your life. Beautiful stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to think, which ones haven't we talked about? Up and Wall-E. Those are my other two favorites. Up and Wall-E. My
They're
God.
both so good. Again, it's like kids. It's like I can't pick which one I like more.
You couldn't.
I can't. And
Wall-E's
I just
amazing
thought
when-
about that today. I totally get it.
Wall-E's amazing because when you go back, you watch it, and the whole first act of the film is silent. No dialogue for the whole first act of the movie. And that's really rare. Visual storytelling.
That's so rare. I didn't put that together.
There's a couple lyrics with the put on your Sunday clothes, but no actual dialogue.
Yeah, no
I
dialogue.
didn't
And-
even notice. Wow.
Yeah, there's a great book about visual storytelling, and one of the references they used was a film from my childhood, obviously E.T. And if you watch the beginning of E.T. when he gets left behind, there's no dialogue. It's him. They're collecting the plants. The UFO is there. They're walking back. They everybody's on. The door goes up. It leaves. He's left. The police with the flashlights are looking for him. He's running. The whole thing is silent until we get to Elliot's house, and it's amazing. I love visual storytelling when it's done well.
Oh gosh, so agree. Well, the opening of Up, since we're talking about this stuff, the opening of Up is rough and beautiful and gorgeous and painful. Every emotion. Every emotion.
All those things.
It makes me want to watch the movie and not feel it because it's so touching.
Makes you want to watch it and not feel it?
It's a conflict of emotion.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you do and don't want to watch it because of all the... Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so rich. I love that.
How are you... I'm sorry. Well, Sean, we will talk to you again.
I'm happy to hear.
How does Pixar... are you guys able to put your finger on the emotional elements so well? And I don't want to say any other names, but not everyone is able to do that. And it is a skill that really touches my brain, and it makes me love your art.
I think that's very nice of you to say. I think we're held to a different standard than other animation studios because we have this, I guess, this history, this lineage of telling these beautiful, emotionally connecting stories. And I think it really comes from being authentic in your storytelling, right? If you are telling a story that is true to you and it's real and you're not trying to craft something that you think other people will like, that's always where you want to start from. And if the story's not personal to you, people will know that. They can smell when something's not really rooted in a truth.
Oh, I love that. And I agree. The truth tellers can see through.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have to say that's been a big part of my experience, not just with the books that I've done, but with the articles that I did before that, was that it had to connect in some kind of way. And it had to tell a story with an angle that was just slightly different from what had been told.
Well, or why do it?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess not everyone has that in them. The why or why am I doing that? That's maybe you're a real artist then. I mean, most people don't think about that.
For me, when I did the Hurley book, as I went into it, of course I was excited. I would get to do a book with Hurley Haywood, 3-time winner of Le Mans, 5-time Daytona winner. many-time champion in a variety of series. But at the same time, I was kind of looking at it like, well, how is this going to be different from any other race car driver's book where we go really fast and then we stab the brakes and we either make the corner or we have a big crash, or, I was braver than the other, blah, 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 blah. And, when Hurley decided to use that platform to come out and to talk about the way he could help young people, it made that book an entirely different adventure where we were talking about somebody's life as opposed to that. And then when we got to the BRUMOS book, it was a story about a series of personalities that had touched this family, going back to Glenn Hammond Curtis, the aviator, to young Andy Granatelli, to, setting up Pan Am, to, seeing the very first Porsches in the United States at Watkins Glen in 19. I mean, the stories and the connections continued to come through in ways that people hadn't heard before. People think about BRUMOS, they think about Peter and Hurley.
Right.
And
in 59, 50,
they don't even
58.
come into the book. Peter doesn't come into the book until about page 300, and Hurley doesn't come in until about page 500. And there's all this other BRUMOS stuff, and that's been what's been cool about that whole project has been making those connections to all those personalities and happenings and progressions during that period. But then to finish off the book with these 12 amazing artists from around the country, Jay and all the other people who have been connected to it, Frank Stella and Kate Cook and Jeff Zwart, and all the people have been involved. It's been such a community. I mean, and it's been a happy community, which has even been better. That everybody
it's even better
came
than a
into
family,
this and they were excited about doing it, and that's what made it fun for me.
Oh man, that's so cool. And what, I don't. Did we ever cover how and why you're a Porsche guy? I mean, like, this gotta, I'd hate to skip over the obvious.
Right. Okay. So I grew up halfway between Watkins Glen and Lime Rock. When I was a little kid, my dad had a Triumph and a Spitfire. A Triumph TR4A and an MGB. Those were our two family cars.
Oh my God,
right?
They're the same car. They're two of the same car.
So kind of, yeah. They were both red. We would go on these little trips when I was a little kid. My mom in the passenger seat and my dad driving and me sitting in the middle on a pillow. And then, we'd go to Watkins Glen and Lime Rock to all of the races. And truthfully, I never cared much for the Porsches. I thought they were kind of goofy looking, compared to the Ford GTs or, some of those kinds of things. I thought the Carrera, what was called the Carrera 6 or the 906, I thought that was like one of the goofiest looking cars ever. I was just like, But then along comes the 910 and the 907, and they were a little sleeker.
Refined it a little bit.
I didn't like the 908 because it beat my favorite drivers who were all driving for the Gulfwire Ford GT team, like Jackie East and Derek Bell were driving for Wire. David Hobbs was driving for Wire. Mike Halewood was driving for Wire. And so, I didn't like them because of that. But then after the Ford GT program was over, Wire went to Porsche. Remember the 917 Golf? The Golf 917s, that was the John Wire team.
Okay.
So now you had my favorite drivers in Porsches, and
so your eyes
so
are you're softening.
starting to come around, and then but the time that I really kind of gravitated, like when I first clicked, in the 1970 Can-Am race at Watkins Glen, which was also the debut of the Chaparral Sucker car. Joe Seifert, the Chaparral 2J, I think it was. And Joe Seifert was driving a 917. In fact, during those race weekends, the 6-hour race, the FIA 6-hour race was on Saturday. The Can-Am was on Sunday. A lot of the FIA teams would stick around and run in the Can-Am. So you would have 8 917s in the Can-Am, and they would be beating a lot of the Can-Am regulars.
Wow.
And
after already running in their own class.
Oh yeah, after
that's
running
cool.
6 hours the day before.
That's cool.
So they would take out the headlights and a couple other things, whatever they needed to make them 10
to
pounds
spec.
lighter.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever. And
still though, that's pretty damn cool. And a testament to Porsche. Not only did it run its race, it can run the next one too.
In that particular race, Denny Holm had burnt his hands badly at Indianapolis that year, so he was driving gingerly. And Joe Seifert was driving his ass off. Like every time he came around the 90-degree corner onto Pitt Straight, he was sideways. And he was catching Denny Hulme, which was almost impossible in those days because the McLarens were so powerful and fast. And just the fact that somebody might catch the McLarens was like, oh yeah, oh, this is cool. And that's kind of what, cemented me into the Porsche world. Of course, a couple of years later, it was Mark Donohue, another one of my heroes, driving the 91730. So, but I still didn't have a Porsche. So here's what happens then. In the late 90s, I was living back in Durango. I'd already gone to grad school, got my degrees done, and I was teaching at the college there in Durango, but I was skiing a lot. Whenever I had free time, I was going up to the mountain at Purgatory. And I was thinking, it's time for a new car. And I'm thinking like maybe WRX, STI, something like that. And a buddy of mine kept hammering away. He says, Sean, you can find some really good deals on older Porsches. And back then you could. You could maybe get a nice an SC for maybe $10,000 or something.
What year are we talking about?
80s.
Oh, God. They were, I grew up in Connecticut and the same thing. And they were $5,000 with a broken windshield at every gas station because everything needed something.
So in the late 90s.
356s I'm talking about. They were just at every gas. Five grand, take it away.
Yeah. So my buddy keeps hammering away on me on, get a Porsche. Well, I'm up in Boulder and I'm just looking at the paper and I remember him at one point saying, I said, Ed, I really want an all-wheel drive car. He goes, Carrera 4. So there was one in the paper in Boulder. So
we're 964 at that point, right?
Yeah. So I call the guy and he goes, yeah, come on over, take it for a drive. He throws me the keys, like take it for a couple hours. So I'm driving around.
Wow.
I go up to Estes Park and I'm like driving around and I'm like, do I want a $40,000 Subaru or this Porsche? Mm-hmm. That's the Porsche I bought.
Yeah. All right. What color was it?
Diamond blue metallic. It's a silver color.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And I will tell you this, that I did go down the slippery slope because I started autocrossing and doing track days. By the time I sold my 964 in 2016, it weighed 2,500 pounds, had a full cage, plastic windows, and a lot of carbon fiber body parts.
Beautiful.
And was about 3 inches lower.
Yeah, that's what happens to all of us. Starts as a Sunday driver, and at the end, you're on the track. What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, when I bought that car, I was just finishing my teaching job, and I had just sold my house in Durango. So what I tell most people is, I was jobless and homeless. So what do? You buy a Porsche.
Buy a Porsche.
Yeah.
Buy a Porsche.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Jay, how did you get into Porsche? Because you've been in it for you were into cars before Pixar, right?
Yeah, I was. I was sort of a car consultant to the movie because I was such a car guy. More hot rods and customs was my thing, just because Porsches were always expensive and I could build a hot rod Model A for a lot cheaper.
Okay.
But my dad had stuff. I went to Germany with my dad when I was in high school. He was buying gray market Porsches, bringing them to the U.S., and then giving Germans what they wanted, which was like Cadillac Eldorados and Winnebagos. They liked the show Dallas. So, they're bringing that over to Germany. Yeah, my dad's bringing these awesome gray market cars. So actually the first experience I had, real experience, was a brand new 944 Turbo S. In 1988, the guy loaned us at the dealership, loaned us a brand new 100,000 Deutschmark 944 Turbo S and let us take it out on the Autobahn. And, I'm an air-cooled 911 person, but that car really, as a 17-year-old kid in high school, I went, okay, there's something here.
This is hilarious.
I have a 76 911S, which if you go on to Porsche Newsroom, they just did a little story about the car about 2 weeks ago. It's a nice little story about how I got the car from our neighbor, and it's a very special car. Her name's Little Blue, and she'll be at Lufgekühlt in a couple of weeks at the show up here in the Bay Area.
Oh, excellent. We'll see you out there.
Yeah, great. Perfect. So, yeah, I'm a Porsche guy for quite a while.
Wow. It's interesting you mentioned the 944. My dad passed away when I was young. I don't want to make this about that. It's the Everybody Died show, everyone. But because of that, I got a couple bucks when I was 18. And what I did with that couple bucks is I ended up buying a 944 Turbo. It was an 86. This was 1996, so it wasn't new. It had 100,000 miles already. But I was test driving cars at Danbury Porsche Audi, and they were letting me drive 993s, new 993s, and the only used car they had was it was a 964 or whatever. It doesn't matter. I couldn't afford any of the things that they were showing me, and they're like, but this kid's really into it. They set me up with the head tech. Whatever his name was, I ended up buying his personal 944 turbo that he had, kind of like you. It was his day driver / track rat. So it was kind of a hybrid it was not stock, but it wasn't a full caged out car. I thought it was neat, and I was happy to have a Porsche, right? But exactly what he was talking about. By the one time you get it out and drive it angry, as they say, I realized what a good car it was, and that's when I started taking it to Lime Rock. But mine also was a 944 turbo, not an S, but still.
Right.
Yeah,
Loved
they're great
loved
cars.
that car.
Christmas tree on it, right?
Yeah, when I was a kid, the Christmas tree from Stu Leonard's. That's right. where
all I-
Letterman and Seinfeld went in the Comedians in Cars episode. The same Stu Leonard.
All I see.
Oh, that's amazing. And you have just the one, which is
I have
fine.
a 76 911S, and I at one point I had a 997 turbo for a little while. I had a 997 GT3 for a little while.
Oh my.
Great cars, fantastic cars, and recently a 2009 997, just an S in Porsche Racing Green, which is kind of a cool color. They didn't make a whole lot of 911s in that color. 09 is when the 997.2 came out.
Right.
And they offered them in that Porsche Racing Green, and I recently found one of those. So
That was the launch color, wasn't it? On like the beige interior.
yes, exactly.
It was a
They
very
all-
pretty
and
color.
Yes, they all came with the same sand beige interior, so you got to put some black in there to try to break up that ocean of beige. But they're great.
Oh God, someone who gets me.
I
He
love
gets me. This is always my complaint as well.
Yes, too much
sounds
beige
like
is
you.
too much.
You at least need a dash mat and some black floor mats or something if you're not going to
Black
customize the
mats
interior.
and replace the surround for the shifter of the PDK with a black piece, so the PCM all becomes black and it kind of fades away. It all helps. Yes.
I love that we're on the same page. Hilarious. Car guys unite. Designers unite.
Yes.
I am
And then-
cognizant of. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say the 76 911S is the special family car. That's what I'll be having at Loop. And it's neat because it's a California car that's never left the Bay Area of California. It was sold brand new at Carlson Audi Porsche on the peninsula.
Oh,
It's only
cool.
had 2 owners before me. It's original paint, all faded original paint, original leatherette interior, original S. It's just, most of those cars, as you know, the 74 to 77s, they got turned into fake turbos, fake slant nose. They got fender flares. They got backdated. They got forward dated. And it's only
Both.
it's only in the last maybe 5 to 8 years that the mid-year Porsches, the 74 to 77s, are finally getting some love for what they are. They're the last of the narrow bodies before the SCs came.
Yes.
And they're great cars and they haven't been monkeyed with. And my car is a truly nice car with the original 2.7 in it. And I just put it to Euro spec with the H4s and the clear markers and the skinny bumper tips and lowered it down. And it's
Oh,
not
I love
too much
that.
film. Yeah.
So shy of the side markers, it pretty much looks like a Euro spec then.
And actually 76 didn't have a different side marker. We had the little, amber front corner, and they did too. And I just did the clear section of that like they did in Europe. And then I did the amber turn signals in the rear like they did in Europe, and the skinny bumper tips and H4s. And it's basically a Euro spec 76.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Is the Loma Mar market, is that up by you? Have you ever done any drives up there? Loma Mar? Does that sound familiar at all?
No,
I'm asking
the big
for a
spot
reason.
For us is, the big spot for us is Alice's restaurant, Woodside. That's the spot that people like to go to.
Ah, okay. For this, the only reason I'm bringing it up, reminder to everybody, there will be a Good Vibes Breakfast Club pop-up this year up at Luftgekühlt 9 on Friday morning, the 24th, I think that would be, right? Something like that.
The day before Luft, yep.
Yes, and it's at that Loma Mar market restaurant. It's some sort of a little Newcombs-y type of place up in the mountains. I don't know that area at all. Other people from the R group are helping us with the planning of it all, but we'll be there on Friday morning if anybody else wants to stop by.
So cool.
Well, very cool, because in the afternoon that Friday at Fantasy Junction, which is right across the street from us, Fantasy Junction is going to be having a Luft-off, pre-Luft party.
Ah, nice!
Yes, at Fantasy Junction, so come by there too.
I love it. We'll do. Now we have two things to do.
Yeah.
Are you going? You're not
Now
going up
I'm-
for there
now
for an
I'm-
hour, right?
Now I feel like I'm going to miss out. I wasn't planning to go because I have book work to do. Now I feel like I'm missing out.
I don't know. I can't imagine you not at Luftgekühlt now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Jay, I'm cognizant of your time. I'm so grateful that you spent an hour with us tonight. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. I hope that if you're ever in town, maybe you'll join us in person, or maybe at least do this again. I really had a blast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And definitely track me down at Lithgow and let's catch up there.
Okay, we'll do. Are you on Instagram at all?
I'm there. Yes, I'm on Instagram. I think it's East Bay _ the letter J.
That's you. I
That's
didn't
me.
know that. I had no idea. All right, I'm following that right now.
All right.
Got it.
And Jay, when the Ryans get around to auctioning your book, we need to reconnect again and give it a little juice with all the fans out there.
Sounds good.
Yes, 100%. Hopefully that's okay. But also, I should have information on that very soon.
Right on. Very cool.
No, not by the end of this show, but very soon.
Right.
Jay, thanks so much for being here. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Sean Cridlin, I don't know where.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
was
You
great.
know very interesting, wonderful people. We're very lucky like that.
Well, so do you, though.
That's what I mean.
you know,
We're very lucky
we have
like
a
that.
great community of people in the Porsche world, and telling that story about originally wanting to have an STI or a WRX, and after I bought my Porsche and went to some events, I started to imagine. I wonder how many people go and stand around their 50-year-old Subarus.
Well,
And I'm sure there are some, but in the Porsche world, we know that that's a commonplace across the country, and we've made this amazing community of people.
you're trying to say you made the right choice.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it was the right choice. Yeah, I don't know what I would have done had I gone that other direction.
Well, you probably would have had 8 other cars in the same time
Maybe
frame
so.
that you had. Yeah.
Maybe so, yeah.
I found that anything else that any other itch I ever wanted to scratch, simply didn't stay scratched. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Nothing filled the void long term. Like there'd be these little things like, oh, I'll leave to go try this thing because I really like it, and I really thought I would, and it's perfect, and it checks all the boxes, and it does for a little bit. But there's some sort of soul connection to Porsche, and I guess other cars have that too.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I guess there's probably a lot, but Porsche for me is where the passion is.
Yeah, well,
There's a connection.
and there's such an amazing history. I mean, it really is an interesting history of very passionate people who all strove for some kind of excellence. Whether it was the racers, or the engineers, or the people who were looking to make the perfect road car, and then the people who drive these things are all looking for, a great experience. And as we know, Porsche is about the best driving car there is. I mean, people always say to me, "Oh, Ferrari or Porsche?" And I'm like, "Well, Ferrari if you want to go to Cars and Coffee, and Porsche if you want to drive across the country."
Yep. I mean, it was always drive to the race, drive home. But as you pointed out, drive to the race, race. Drive.
Right.
I hadn't heard that one before. That's pretty impressive. I'm trying to think. What else should we cover? Is there anything else that we should, like business-wise? Otherwise, I'll just shoot the shit with you for a few minutes.
I can't.
I mean,
really
did we
think
do
of
all the
anything.
business?
I think we have. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm going to bring in our Canadian friend Mike up here because we haven't talked to him too much tonight. You've been quietly, hopefully, enjoying the conversations here, Mister. You have anything for Sean?
Absolutely. Color of Money. Okay, but the one that my dad made me watch and blew me away was The Sting. I don't think we mentioned Paul Newman.
Love The Sting. No, and that's all. Is that also Robert Redford? He's in
Yes.
that too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good call. And then there's another thing most people may not know, but growing up in the town, Robert Redford lived in the same town as Paul Newman. I mean, like
Really?
the town is very
I had
small.
No idea.
He still lives there. Very close.
Mm-hmm.
So he was always driving around too.
Excellent. Wow. What classic American actors? I mean, I can't.
Are there 2 more classic American actors?
I don't think like that. Not currently. I mean, there are some great actors. Obviously Robert De Niro comes to mind. Al Pacino comes to mind. There are a few, but
These days, maybe Clooney seems to be kind of royalty.
yeah, but there was something quirky about those two. I mean, Paul Newman would play a dead straight role, and then he'd play Cool Hand Luke. And then he'd came up through the studio system when he was playing, shirtless Roman gladiators and stuff. I mean,
Right.
all that kind of stuff where he was great all across the range.
Yeah.
And-
Is that your favorite, Mike? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And he was a great race car driver, and he was a great philanthropist.
Most people don't know much about Newman's own foundation. Do you know why that's such a successful, wonderful thing? It's not a nonprofit. It is a for-profit business where all of the profits, 100%, go to charity. It's run in a completely different way than a nonprofit, and it was a unique thing that
So
he and
it's-
Joanne worked out.
Like formulated like a business.
Absolutely, we gotta everything's down to all of the
Wow.
metrics and all the things you have to
That's
do to run a
awesome.
successful business. But then all of the profit, and then also all those people have wonderful jobs because of that. He gets to employ a lot of people. I love that. Love that.
Yeah. That's my kind of hero.
And then not only that, there's the Newman's Own product brand, and then there's the Newman's Own Foundation, and there's all different things. The Hole in the Wall Gang is something we used to volunteer with when we were kids. That little camp that he's got for wayward boys.
Right. Yeah. No,
How
great
did
stuff.
you know about the philanthropy part?
Oh, because I buy Paul Newman, Newman's Own
Salad
dressing. I buy Newman O's, which are the Newman
Cheerios.
version of
The
Oreos.
cereal.
Oh, Oreos. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I buy the Paul Newman spaghetti sauce.
I love
I
their
buy all
marinara, yeah.
I get all the stuff. If I see a Newman product, I buy it.
He's got, this is my favorite, Fig Newmans.
Yeah.
Fig
the
Newmans are great.
What?
amazing.
Yeah, well, they're all natural Fig
Yeah.
Newtons, but they're Newmans, Fig Newmans.
That's
Yeah.
amazing and hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. No, it's all good stuff.
The salad oil is maybe my favorite, though. And so here's the thing. When I was a kid and that stuff was new, Paul Newman, the guy, would go to the grocery stores and do the shake it up and taste it on a cracker and whatever the heck. It was like dancing for the public in our little town.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's fantastic. So.
And they also ran the Westport Country Playhouse, too, which is still in existence.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No,
Which I
he
used
was
to
an
volunteer as a
amazing,
kid.
well-rounded character. Really was.
Mike, was The Sting your favorite? Is that where you brought it up, or just to hit the one we missed?
I think Color of Money is probably my favorite for me, but I will never forget. My dad and I didn't bond over movies, but my dad, when I was about 10 years old, actually sat me down and took glee in me watching The Sting and realizing the twist and all of that. Like when I realized the twist, I turned and looked, and my dad was in his recliner with a huge smile on his face. Like he loved seeing the light bulb go on in that movie because it had a really great twist to it.
Yeah, I think he was proud of you for getting it.
Oh, well, perhaps that was part of it. But like when he saw that light bulb go on, yeah, maybe it was an intelligence test to see how smart his kid was. But
His kid
he
can
and
hang.
I didn't bond to movies, but that was one he introduced to me specifically, and so I'll always remember that.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a good movie too.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of it. There's not a Paul Newman movie I don't.
No.
Oh, I can't think of it. What? Are you a movie guy? Like
I
we
love movies.
obsessed? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
What
yeah,
are some
yeah.
of your favorite movies? Doesn't have to be Paul.
Oh
Newman.
gosh, The Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm
course.
sensing a theme here.
Yeah. Le Mans, of course. Grand Prix. I think there's always the
Grand Prix is a better
debate.
movie.
What's the best car? For me, it's Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's the Garner one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, my dad took me to see that. I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade. It didn't play locally, so we had to drive 60 miles to a theater that had it. And I'll never forget that opening sequence that starts with the carburetor. And then, boom, 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 boom. And then it goes to split screen. And then the screen splits again and again and again and again. And just, gets me every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, that's a pretty damn special moment. Like,
Oh, gosh.
not only did your dad want to go with you, but he drove 60 miles. That's a
Pretty
thing.
good.
And, and I think, I don't know if I've told you this or not, but I tell it to lots of people. I went to my first U.S. Grand Prix in 1964. So I had already seen Formula One cars before that movie came out. I'd seen the drivers and all that kind of stuff. And in 1964, right next to the Kendall Tech Center at Watkins Glen, there was a little helipad, and they flew in this, what I call the whirlybird, you know, the kind that had the plastic cover.
The bubble front, right?
The bubble front.
Yeah.
And
Jaws 2.
Jaws 2. For $10, you could go for a ride in that during practice. So the helicopter would take you over the track 3 times during practice while the cars were running down below.
Whoa.
And he bought me one of those rides.
Wow. Oh, that's the coolest.
So I get emotional.
Good.
But you know, my friends in school were all like baseball. You know, they could name every single baseball player. I could name Lorenzo Bandini, Graham Hill, Jackie Stewart.
Sir Jackie Stewart.
Sir Jackie Stewart, Jimmy Clark, Mike Halewood, Lorenzo. I said Lorenzo Ludovico Scarfiotti. I knew all the Grand Prix drivers. Mike Parks, John Surtees was my favorite back then. I could name all the Grand Prix drivers. I didn't know any baseball.
Oh my gosh. I have missed a bunch of stuff. So touching the lovely goodbye you gave to Meow Meow. Oh, you're so sweet, Irene. Thank you. Good to see everyone, says Jay Franz. Sorry, I'm cutting from you because you're crying.
That's okay. That's all right. That's all right.
Sorry to hear about your cat. Thank you so much, Jay Franz. Hi, guys, says Ryan S. Hello, Ryan. Let's see. Nick Twaddle, howdy. A lot of hellos. Darren, I just got here. Did I miss anything? We were talking about Pixar Cars with Jay Ward from Pixar, and we're talking about Porsche and BRUMOS with Mr. Sean Cridland here. Bradley Cooper is our next Paul Newman. Ooh, that's an interesting.
Oh, yeah. That's a possibility.
Boy, you know, I wouldn't have made that jump at The Hangover, but now he's done some really fine work.
Yeah. The movie that he did with Lady Gaga.
That's the one, the Stars Born.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful movie.
Agree.
Yeah.
Some of his impressive, serious work was the one with Jennifer.
I know which one.
Oh,
you
yeah.
mean.
Yeah, Silver Linings Playbook.
Thank you.
Yes.
Silver Linings Playbook.
that
He
was
was
excellent, too.
very surprisingly good in that. It was disarmingly good.
Yes, that's right.
So that makes me think he could be right about that. And he's got those eyes.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, there you go.
Jennifer Lawrence.
And let me just toss out, because we didn't mention him yet, Jeff Bridges. Because he has an amazing array of interesting roles, too.
And one of the best guys, too.
Yes, yeah.
The dude for me.
Oh, yeah.
Although Starman, too. I go to Starman as my...
Starman, great stuff, yeah.
What is it for you?
Oh, it has to be The Big Lebowski.
Big
It just
Lebowski.
has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've liked him in a lot of things, but the dude... And the whole plot line with that whole movie is just...
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's the best.
yeah,
and just how cool he plays. Hey, man, there's a beverage here. You know, everything's just so... like the royal we.
And all the other characters. Buscemi.
Oh,
Perfect.
Donnie.
And for me...
Phone's ringing, dude.
That was John Goodman's best role, hands down. And he's been good in a lot of things, but that was his best role.
And most memorable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see Flight, the Denzel Washington movie with the airplane and whatever?
think so.
John Goodman's in that, and he felt like, oh, this is Walter Sobchak 20 years later.
I
Okay,
was
same guy.
just going to ask if that's the one, because he's the same guy.
We thought so. We just saw it recently and thought the same thing. I'm like most people. The first time I saw that movie, I thought, okay, fine, but I didn't really. But then once, 2, maybe 3 times, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Every scene is hilarious to me now.
Oh gosh, yeah. And there's another movie, and I'm blanking on its name, but it's Jeff Bridges and Rosie Perez. And it's actually kind of a serious movie, but very touching. And it's about someone who went through a plane crash.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
And survived. Actually, the 2 of them were both survivors.
That's Fearless.
Fearless, yes. Fantastic movie. One of my favorite movies. Real sleeper. Cause
When did that come out, and who else is in it? Because I don't think I've ever heard of it.
90s?
I think it was 92 or 93. I'll check right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
that makes
wow,
sense.
okay.
Yeah.
93.
Yeah. Wonderful movie.
I was watching Letterman. I missed it. This desk was brand new.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
There's a, I mentioned Starman before, but just last one on the Jeff Bridges. There's a movie with Kevin Spacey. You probably can't watch it anymore. Kevin Spacey's in it called K-Pax.
Oh yes, I
which is
remember
one of
Cape
my
Cod.
all-time
Yes.
So
favorite
good.
movies.
Yeah.
And Jeff Bridges plays sort of the skeptic doctor in that to another starman, and it's kind of nice seeing the same guy play the yin to the yang.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was a very popular movie.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, again, I thought it was like Tomorrowland, where I was the only one who knew about it.
Yeah.
Did you like that one?
I liked it. I didn't like it as much. My PhD is in philosophy. There were just a few little
Ooh, tell me.
wanky things in there as somebody who's kind of done that on a professional level.
Yes, please
that I
tell
just
me.
Was
Only because I thought it was very authentically. I thought it was good on the other side. So obviously, I was. They got me.
no, and it was quite good. From if you're not a professional philosopher nerd, is what you become when you get you spend that much time getting a degree. It would be a wonderful movie philosophically, but for those of us who have studied all that stuff and had to report on it to our grad school committees and so on and so forth, there were just these little hooks in there that I went,
Oh, I hate that. So many movies are like that for me, where you just know too much.
Yes, that's right. It's one of the reasons that I didn't like that much. I mean, I enjoyed it, Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh,
Because there were some of those little hooks in there.
Going around Willow the wrong way and stuff.
Oh yeah, that was such a great movie. And I'm like, when, like, for instance, when the Ford team makes their first visit to Enzo Ferrari, right?
When the deal looks like it's going to go well, this is going to happen.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Enzo Ferrari is sitting at a table, and they walk in, and there's several cars there in the garage. And supposedly this is 1962 or 1963. And there's a Ferrari 330 P4 there, which doesn't exist until 1967. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's a
Or
gross oversight.
Everything. Oh, you have more.
when they show the garage with all the Ford cars in it, Shelby's garage, and there are several cars which don't yet exist in the car. But in one of the early scenes when they're at the raceway, the one where Ken Miles throws the hammer,
The wrench, yeah.
yeah, the wrench, and Carroll Shelby says to him, "Hey Ken, you need to calm down. There's some people from BRUMOS here," and I went,
Not yet.
"No, they're not." I happen to know a little something about BRUMOS, and they're not there.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was a nice story.
No,
It's a great movie.
Yes,
it's
it
just
is a
not
great
like
movie.
a factual, perfect history
Yes,
of the
and
whole
I
thing.
can't tell you how many times on various forums and Facebook feeds and so on and so forth that people have said, "Calm down, it's a movie."
We all have different things that we get hung up on. It's the going around Willow the wrong way, and the fact that Willow was every track in that movie too.
Yes, that's true too. Oh, and let me finish it off.
Okay, okay.
Since we're on the topic, Ken Miles died testing a J car, and I thought to myself, when he wheels up for the last scene, and he's in a Ford GT40, and I thought to myself, it's Hollywood. Don't they have fiberglass people there in Hollywood that can make a J car looking thing? Like, why wouldn't you do that? But anyway, I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
Yeah,
No, I won't.
Not
I
very.
will never let it go.
Hanging on a little bit.
Yeah. But sorry.
No, it's
So
good.
I enjoyed K-Pax, but same kind of thing.
I can't wait. I wish. I almost want to watch it with you now, so I can find out what the holes are. The stuff with his brother-in-law is like an astronomer and all that, and he has the right answers for the brother-in-law. He passes all the tests for the people.
Yeah.
Is it the stuff in the hospital you don't like?
I'd have to rewatch it.
All right,
Yeah.
but it didn't pass the test back then.
No, it didn't. But I still like.
You brought up Jeff Bridges.
Yes, that's right, and I liked both their performances. Yeah, and I know we're not supposed to like Kevin Spacey anymore, and I understand that. But
I don't know how that works.
I look at performances, and same thing with bicycle racing. I love bicycle racing, and
Lance Armstrong.
and yeah, we're supposed to hate Lance Armstrong, and I get that, and I understand why. But
I don't.
for anybody who watched those races back in the day, tell me you weren't excited.
For sure. Also, I think that he got caught doing what every other person was doing. And that's the weird thing. It's not all those rights make it okay, or all those whatever the heck.
No, they don't. No, but during that time, I mean, think about how pumped up everybody was. It's like, yeah, look at did you see what he did today? And, it was fun. You got to say it was fun.
6 times in a row? 6 times?
7.
7 times in a row. Yeah. And do they take those away now? They took them back. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't.
That's crap.
I don't.
I don't know how any of it works.
Yeah.
You've done the time. Do you feel good about this? I love seeing you. I could talk to you all day.
Absolutely. No, it's always wonderful to see you guys.
He was so nice. He said, we don't have to do this. I know you're going through a tough time. And I was like, we are looking forward to seeing you, seriously.
This is such a treat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so now let's continue on, and let's use that book over there to do something really good for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This one's been having a hard time of it.
Yeah.
It's been not a fun road.
Yeah. It's
She's
not,
a trooper.
It's not fun, but a lot of people love you.
Thank you. Again, only torpedo or get better. And I don't want a torpedo, so.
There you go.
Maybe it's slow, but I don't care.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Canada Mike, anything else up there?
Can I talk about what are we going? Are we heading out right now?
Yeah, but you should talk about anything you want to talk about.
Can I talk about that? We're in the anniversary week of the Letterman podcast right now, between now and next Friday.
Absolutely. Congratulations on that. And I should also probably say happy birthday to Dave Letterman yesterday. 76. Happy birthday, Dave. Sorry about that.
Absolutely. 76. I'm a 76 baby, so I figure that we're in some sort of congruency for this year. I'm hoping that's the case. We have a very cool week planned. Tomorrow, Mark Malkoff returns. We've got a bonus episode coming out on Tuesday where Darren Cox, who was the very first guest on the Letterman podcast, comes on, shows off his Letterman collection, and then we dissect the U2 David Letterman special. We've got some contests going on right now, so anybody who wants one of these official rejection postcards from the Late Show, if you want to be rejected by David Letterman, go to the Facebook group, like the contest post. You'll be in for the draw for a couple of these things. And today we recorded 2 episodes, one being the one that's going to come out 1 week tomorrow with a very, very, very special mystery guest on the Letterman podcast. So it's going to be this is our 1 year anniversary week that's happening. So
why is the guest a mystery? Why is the guest a mystery?
I think that it's surprising the audience. It'll be a delightful surprise to see who this person is, for sure.
I can't figure it out. Is the name, is it somebody who's so big that we don't want to promote it? Or is it somebody who a mystery guest is a bigger name than the person? Because now I'm interested. I'm intrigued. You have me intrigued.
I would tell you, of course, off camera, or off when the record button's done.
What about now? Oh, I just stopped it. We're done. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll PS you later, buddy.
Well, I'm wearing this hat for a reason, and that is because your only source for officially licensed Late Show with David Letterman merchandise is indeed the Hello Deli in New York City. You see the mug over there well, it's actually in his hand now, but the Hello Deli. Mr. Rupert G. and the Hello Deli, you recall from the days of David Letterman. Go to hello-deli.com to get some of this stuff before it's all gone and before Rupert closes up shop for good. And while you're there, say hello to Rupert for Nicole, because sometimes...
I cannot.
That's right. Sometimes she can't. She's got MS. Although I think you're doing great today.
Thanks.
Yeah, for the record. Close out these comments here. I think Bradley Cooper was the last one. That was a good call. Salad dressings outgrossed Paul Newman's films. Wow. I totally believe it. But again, because of that reason for how they structured it. Silver Linings Playbook. Good job. Sorry about that. Hello from Ray Schaefer. Hello to my 3 wonderful friends, Nicole, Jay, and Sean. Wish I could be there with you all. Boy, that would be just lovely.
Yes.
We love you, Ray Schaefer, and hopefully you can help us with Broad Arrow Group and this auction over here.
That'd be
I'll
awesome.
talk to you more about that off air, but that would be great. And I love Ray Schaefer. I love when he pops in, too. Fearless. Good job. All right. Thanks, everybody. I think we're done. We've done the stuff, right? Oh, no. Shit, there's... God, doggone it. You know what? There's East Coast feeds and there's TBTs, but maybe we'll do... Nah, we have to do the TBT. All right, real quick before we leave, TBT. Roll it out. The window. It's the truth. It's the truth. What are you going to do? No biggie. Oh, we could always do this. Ready?
Oh,
Hello.
Oh, meow, meow.
Hello. Hi, meow, meow.
Prettiest animal ever.
It's funny, I said the David Letterman influence the other day, but I really should give proper credit because I do believe this would be Merrill Markoe influence here. And I just want to be fair there because our dream would be that Merrill eventually someday hears about this show even existing and would come on as a guest. That would be my dream.
We're friends on Facebook. I think I'm going to go bold and tag her on this one.
Okay.
Because her name
because
comes up a
how
lot.
could you not?
There's so much influence.
God.
She's so pretty.
Arr. She's doing her best pirate impression now. Most people didn't know that we had a cat that did impressions. Yeah, it was our stupid pet trick. That was one of the early shows when we were still at the dining room table in here. Can you believe that was the same space?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it used to look like.
That's amazing.
All right, so now I guess we're done, right? Mike, anything else for you? So tomorrow, who's your
I'm
guest?
good,
Mark
man.
Malkoff.
Tomorrow, Mark Malkoff returns. Yes.
Awesome. Very good. Congratulations on that. And on 1 year for the Letterman podcast. That's a major deal. Congrats.
Thank you for everything that you've done to help us get there. Love you, man.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, buddy. You're welcome, and I love you back. And, let me know what we can do in the future. Hopefully. Here's the good news about this cat situation. All of a sudden, Jay has a lot more time on his hands to get shit done. Okay? So that's the good news, is hopefully I'll be able to catch up on a lot of things that I have let fall between the cracks. So if there's anything I've been supposed to do for a while, that's right, been supposed to do. That's right, write it down. It's English. Send me a message because I might have forgotten. Otherwise, I'll get to it. I love you. Sean Cridlin, we love you.
Love you guys.
Love you a lot, man. You got such a great energy, and you're just...
Great to see you guys. Great to be with you guys.
Same.
We love you up in Canada. I wasn't sure what he was doing. One of your fingers was hidden by the Chrysler building there. Congratulations on everything, buddy. Very happy for you.
Love you guys so much. Great show. Thanks very much for everything.
And thanks very much to Jay Ward as well for his time.
Yes.
Thanks, Sean Cridland. Oh, how do people follow you? Visions of Power.
Yes, Visions of Power on Instagram or Sean Cridlin on Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it.
Me too. I never even open it up. New Life of Old Nicole, Porsche Life 111. Recently verified, by the way. How about that? Finally happened. Very exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much. That's it. We love everybody. Love one another. What are we doing? Tomorrow is GVBC up at Plan B, Site B, which is Mill Creek Summit on Angeles Forest Highway. Saturday is LAG down at Auto Kennel, LAG, Lazy Auto Kennel Gallery. Sunday is at Malibu, because we haven't done that in a couple weeks with our situation, and I need it. I'm sure you do too. Yeah. So we'll be at Cafe de la Plage. And then next week we are back here with the guys from Telefunken, which I am very excited about. Not only our microphone sponsor, but all of the other things as well. And they're in town for the big, was it NAMM they come for? So that's what's going on Tuesday.
Can't
we love
wait to
everybody,
see them.
and we'll see you out there.
So that was Kitty?
Yeah.